Good morning or good afternoon, whatever. This is going to be the lesson on how to start seeds for your hydroponic grow, and a little bit more information on the net cups that we were talking about earlier. You will notice that these net cups are all a little bit different. And the ones I prefer are the ones that have the smaller holes in the bottom. You can see this one's fairly large. And this is a 3-inch net cup. We won't be using those today. But you notice that's fairly small holes in the bottom. I like that. And here's the one I would tend to use. And that has definitely small holes in the bottom. And so we will be using this type of net cup. And first thing we're going to do, let's talk about growing mediums or things to grow your seeds in. You'll see right here, a lot of people use what they call the Grodan Rockwell cubes. They're not my favorite, but I do use them for some of my seeds. As you can see right here. And with the Grodan cubes, you basically soak them, get them nice and wet. Some people recommend that you soak them in a pH adjusted liquid. You could put vinegar water or lemon water, or there's a product called pH Down that you could use. I've tried it and I don't see any advantage to it. My seeds come up just fine. Although I will have to say I have less good luck with the Grodan cubes than I have with this other system. So I like to use cocoa coir, and cocoa coir comes in these bales like this, and I generally get it from Walmart, and if you buy $45 worth, you don't have to pay shipping costs, and that will save you a lot of money. So just if you buy it, try it that way. So then once you get it reconstituted, see that it starts in a block. There's four segments in that block. So you put them in a tub and put 2 gallons of hot water in there, and it'll eventually break down, and so you end up with something like that. This particular stuff has dried out on me, which is just fine, because I suspect that sometimes these products come with fungus gnats in them, and I'm telling you what, you don't want to get an infestation of some fungus gnats going in your house. So what I've learned to do is to sterilize this stuff before I use it. And what I did with this right here is I reconstituted it with water, and then I put it in the microwave and got it so it was steaming hot, like 3 or 4 minutes. Don't quote me on that, you gotta watch it. You don't want to burn up the stuff in your microwave, but that's how I got this where it is. And that basically would kill the bugs that might be in it. So just forewarned, just got to be careful about that. And then I press it in, not too hard, but you want to, at least in the bottom, you want to make sure it's in there fairly good. So there's what you're going to start with. And the next thing is to put the seed in. And let me get a paper towel, I'll be right back. Now, I've been wanting to try growing tatsoi, and tatsoi is a little tiny seed. And for my big old fat fingers, that little tiny seed is kind of hard to deal with. So if you dip like something pointed into water, you could actually pick up the seeds. Can't see it?
Bring it up. There.
So there's 2 seeds on there. And I'm just going to set them into the net cup. Sort of turn the pencil around, tap them down just a little bit. Don't get carried away with tapping them down. But at that point, you have planted a seed. And it's that simple. Until they come up, I generally just put fresh water in there. So I usually will put in like 3/8 of an inch of fresh water. And when you have 6 of these things in net cups all filled up in there, the water will wick up into the net cup and it'll give the seed just the perfect amount of wetness to germinate. So I'll go ahead and do the rest of these. And well, one thing we can do right now is it's a good idea to go ahead and label your seeds. Because if you're like me, you'll forget, and it won't take very long, and then you'll start saying, well, my goodness, what have I planted here? And so I'm going to just put this label on my container, and now I'll know what I've got in there. So let me go ahead and finish planting these seeds, and we'll come back.
Go.
Hi there. This lesson is going to be on seed starting for your hydroponics. And the first thing you need to know a little bit about is what sort of medium you can plant your seeds in and have it work with hydroponics. And there are, many more than I'm going to list for you, but this one is called the Grodan cubes. These are made out of rock wool, and you simply drop a seed into the hole after you've wetted the cubes down, and start over. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Seed starting is our next subject, and there are many ways to get your seed started, and I will just show you some of the ways that I've used and tried. The first one I'll mention is the Grodan plugs. They're made out of rock wool. It's an inert material, and once you've moistened it, according to the instructions, then you just drop a seed into this hole and leave it until it grows. Just make sure that the cubes don't dry out. But that's pretty much all you've got to do. I've never had really sterling luck with that particular product, but a lot of people do, so it might be just my technique. The other one is directly putting perlite into your cups, and perlite is like it's you could call it lava rock popcorn. And that's pretty much what it is. It's lava rocks that's been heated up and popped. And it's very light. It'll crush if you crush it. And it also has a pretty fair capacity to soak up water. So it's once it gets wet, it stays wet. And that's a perfectly acceptable way to plant your seeds. In fact, I'll do one that way. The other way that I do mostly is just put cocoa coir into my net cup. And this is how you get cocoa coir. Comes in a very heavy block. This is like 10 pounds. It's solid cocoa fibers. There's like 4 splits or 3 splits through here, so it splits into 4 different little cubes that you rehydrate. And I like to rehydrate them with very hot water. Tends to help. And that is what I use mostly. Once you've rehydrated it, see, I do all of that block at one time, split it up though. And once you've rehydrated, you get a whole tub of the growing medium. And lately, after I got wiped out by the bugs last spring, I've gotten very careful about how I use this stuff. I'm not totally sure it comes with fungus gnats in it, but it might. And so I usually take a bag of dry material like this and put like a quart of water into it, and then take it up and microwave it until it's, steaming hot. And I figure that probably gets rid of any of the fungus gnats. And so far, since I've really cleaned up my work area, I haven't had any, so let's hope that's the solution. Okay, so I simply take the net cup and I start by putting it into the bottom just a little bit more firm than I do in the top, and then I just kind of round it off. So you end up with a net cup that's full all the way to the bottom with cocoa coir, and that becomes the thing I'm going to plant into. Now today I'm planting tatsoi seeds. It's an Asian green, and you can see they're pretty small. And if you got fat fingers like I do, it's a challenge. So somebody suggested that you dip a pencil or another sharp object into some water and it'll pick up the seeds. Just touch it to a seed. There's actually 2 seeds on that pencil there. And I'm just gonna press them down gently into the cocoa coir. And then I put the cocoa coir into a little tub of water, and that's it. I generally plant enough to do a whole Kratky concrete tub, and that's the way I do that. Might just mention that net cups are not all the same. These are 2-inch net cups, which I mostly use for what I'm doing. And you'll see that the holes in the bottom of these are different. These are much larger, so they don't lend themselves very well to the system that I'm using. So I've found these ones that have the holes that are very considerably finer. And so that tends to hold the cocoa coir better. And that's why I use them. Okay, so that's how you start your seeds. And
I